Hi, my name is Audrey Hernandez, and for my persuasive speech topic, I wanted to talk about how social media affects relationships. The purpose is to show listeners the negative impact on and how it affects people. Have you ever found yourself comparing your own relationship with others online? I'm going to teach you how social media will negatively affect your relationship if you let it. Social media is a huge part of everyone's lives, and it's very common to compare your own lives to what they see on social media. If people are not educated about this topic, in the long run, it will end up hurting their own personal relationships in their lives. So I'm going to talk about how social media negatively affects relationships because it creates certain expectations, and then it creates decreased face-to-face communication and increased jealousy and insecurity. So with social media and everyday life now, it creates expectations for relationships. For example, on TikTok, there are many videos created showing what seems to be like perfect couples and grand romantic gestures. These consist of popular videos that people will post showing what their boyfriends or girlfriends did for each other. Watching these videos often go viral and create expectations of what people's significant others should be doing for each other because of the videos they see. While they're very entertaining, they set false standards for what an actual healthy relationship can look like. So watching this content causes people to compare their own relationships to what they see online, leading to disappointment in their expectations with their own relationships. In many cases, it is scripted or staged or just made for views, and most people are not aware of that, and that it's just made up to make people believe that they have a whole different life, and it causes a lot of resentment in relationship and comparison of, well, they did that for their boyfriend online, or like she did that for her boyfriend online, like why isn't she doing that for me, or vice versa. So I think it's really important to take into account that just because someone is posting their life doesn't mean you need to compare yours and feel less appreciative because it's not your own. This takes away from the actual points of a relationship, which is true love and connection compared to big gifts and gestures. So I just think it's really important to understand that just because, even if it's not staged, but just because someone has a big grand gesture done for them online doesn't mean that your relationship is less strong because of that, because you don't get those same big grand gestures. So between relationships and always looking for the feeling of wanting more, there's tons of decreased face-to-face interaction. Decreased face-to-face interactions have rapidly become normalized. Instead of actually seeing your significant other and spending meaningful time with them, people have now resorted to social media, such as Snapchat, as a form of communication. People will snap short videos with filters and short little messages with little to no meaning. With this, it depicts tones of voice, facial expressions, and physical presence. These things are all necessary to create a strong relationship that will actually last a long time and create actual love and communication with each other. I feel like even in my own personal life, like you can text one thing and it will come out a whole certain way, but you mean it in another. So I feel like it's really important to have face-to-face communication because you can see their facial expressions, hear how they're talking, and kind of see more of what it's like to be in person and present with each other. So I think that's really important. I would say face-to-face interactions are essential in relationships because to create love and chemistry, without them, relationships can begin to feel distant or disconnected. Over time, relying solely on digital interaction can weaken the emotional bond between partners and reduce the effort in putting time spending with each other. So an example of this would be like, oh, well, I was on FaceTime with him for like 5 hours today, or I was snapping him all day, so I don't really need to see him tonight anymore because we're already talking all day, which is what I feel like is really common in relationships now. But it's really important that there is face-to-face interaction between relationships because that's how actual trust and love can grow. I don't really think it can grow through a social media app like others believe. I think that although decreased face-to-face communication is essential in keeping a strong relationship. It's also really important to learn about how relationships in social media have changed because of increased jealousy and insecurity. Um, Jealousy and insecurity in relationships has existed long before the rise of social media. A lot of people get jealous in relationships, it's a really common thing, but social media creates these emotions of insecurity and jealousy by constantly exposing people to images and interactions that can be misinterpreted easily and taken in wrong ways. So, my idea of that is like a simple heart or comment on an Instagram post can spark a doubt in a relationship. Knowing this creates insecurities with it being so normalized in our society that if your significant other likes, comments, or follows someone of the other gender on social media, it's a sign that the other person cannot be loyal. And although this does sound a little crazy, it is super common. Honestly, like a couple years ago, I found myself like doing the same thing where if you see your significant other liking someone else's posts, even if they're friends or not, it just causes a form of jealousy. In me, at least it did, and I think it is pretty common between other people. So it doesn't only form insecurity, but it's also not healthy for relationships. Constantly checking your significant other's social media accounts to see if they followed someone new or liked another person's post. It's not only damaging for your relationship, but also like exhausting for your mental health. So constant exposure to others on social media can make individuals question their self-worth by comparing themselves to others they see on social media with unrealistic beauty standards, and also people compare their happiness levels to the one that they see online, creating tons of insecurity for themselves. So I think just being on social media and having that expectation of always wanting to portray a perfect relationship, it really can affect your relationship and affect how you mentally think about it. So to conclude, I would say social media has undoubtedly changed in so many different aspects in relationships. The negative effects outweigh the positive effects with how much needs to be changed in relationships. Through certain expectations, decreased face-to-face communication, and increased jealousy and insecurity, relationships have almost been ruined by social media. So while the prime use of social media is supposed to be to bring people together and closer, it can often do the opposite, creating distance and misunderstandings. People in relationships need to learn how to focus on the core values of love and trust compared to what they see online.